Hey guys, welcome to another episode of PB Garage. This is take two because I just did a 5-minute intro and realized the video camera wasn't recording. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. I haven't posted a video in a while, but I've still been making a lot of progress on my 2.7 build. If you've seen some of Sean's recent videos, you'll realize that his videos, my videos are a similar flavor. We're tracking similar progress. Blake's kind of disappeared. He dropped off the face of the earth, so we don't know what's going on with him. Maybe he'll surprise us and throw a video up in the near future. We'll see. In any case, car's moving along great. I've got the back end all together. The subframe's in, the axles are in, everything's torqued to spec. I've finally finished my rear big brake setup. That's using 2-reg calipers, Willwood parking brake, and then some custom brackets to install those in the spindle. Up front, I'm nearing completion on my 17Z upgrade. That's looking really good. But I need to get back on the engine here. So my original plan was to reuse these cylinder heads as is. They're the ones off the engine that was in the car. They have 200,000 kilometers on them, so it's a good point at this stage to rebuild them and start fresh, especially considering the level of detail that I put into the rest of the engine. So in this video I'm going to cover stripping these down, cleaning the heads really well, changing the valve stem seals, lapping the valves to the valve seats. I'm going to cover changing out the timing chain tensioner pads. I'll cover that in a bit of detail. Putting everything back together and then install these on the engine. Really looking forward to getting the turbos on the car and everything else on the engine. Turbos on the car. Really looking forward to getting the turbos on the engine and finishing the build and then getting this engine back in the car and then hopefully firing it up at some point in the near future. So stick around and I hope you enjoy the video. Don't over tighten this when you install it. So before I pull the cam caps off, I'm going to remove all of them except for these two and these two. And when I do take them all off in the end, they're going to be put aside so that when I go and put everything back together, they can go in the exact same spot, in the exact same orientation as they came off.
Shut up and sit down.
Hey guys, so I'm just about to pull the cams out. Everything's loose, the caps are all off. Before I do so, I forgot to mention at the start, just check your marks here on the cams. They should line up with the arrows on these caps here. There's one here and one here. You can double check that before you take these off and the cams are loose. If you've already done so and you're putting things back together, you can count the links between the marks. Sean goes over that in his video and there's information on the web, but just above this one here you can start with that link and then count 16 over and end up on top of the other one. I usually just go by the arrows lining up with the marks on the cam. That works best for me. So I'm removing valve stem seals now. The ones on the exhaust side are pretty easy. You can use this seal removal tool. It's just got some jaws that go around and clamp on the seal and you just pull straight out. The holes here for the buckets are pretty large on the exhaust. On the intake it's a bit smaller, and this tool doesn't really fit down in that hole very well. You can get it in, but then to open the tool and grab the seal, it doesn't really grab the seal very well and it slips off quite often. So what I've been using here is this bent screwdriver. It's just a flathead screwdriver that I've got bent 90 degrees at the end, and I'm going in the hole adjacent to the seal I'm trying to remove. You see just in here, so I'm going to go in this middle hole and I'm going to remove this seal just to the left here. If I can get my light, it's a bit tricky, but you can see it'll just reach in, go underneath the seal and just pry up. It'll pop right off. Hard to get the camera on it. Once you've got it popped off, you come with some needle nose pliers and just recover the seal, and that's it, it's out. Very easy. So the valves are all removed. My next step here is to clean out this combustion chamber a little bit so that I can effectively lap these valves into the valve seats. And then once I've done that, I'll give the head a real thorough clean, especially on this side of it. So I've done a first pass clean on the cylinder head just on this side here, just so that I can lap the valves and it's somewhat clean on these valve seats. The next step is to clean the valves themselves. So they have some carbon built up on them, they're rough. The suction cups for lapping the valves won't stick to that. So I'm gonna clean those up next. Okay, so I'm here at the drill press. Basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the valve. I've got a piece of electrical heat shrink tubing. I'm gonna slide that over the stem. I'm gonna put this in the chuck. I'm gonna use a Scotch-Brite pad with a little PB blaster. I'm gonna turn this on. I'm just gonna go down the stem and on the bottom of it. It doesn't take long and it'll just clean this up really nice.
Shut up and sit down.
So now you can see when I take my suction cup, it'll all be nice and strong. Okay, so the next step is to lap these valves. The first step is to put a drop of oil on your stem and then a little bit of compound on the back side of this. So Sean described in his video, basically we're just gonna go back and forth on this here until you don't hear any more noise. And then you'll pull it back up, draw some more compound in and keep going. So I'm gonna do that 3 times. You hear it get quieter and quieter. And if you keep going, it'll go completely silent, but I'll save that one for the last attempt. Okay, up and back down. Keep going until it gets really quiet. And then back up. This is the last time. You can do this as many times as you want. My valves are in pretty good condition, so I don't need to go beyond this. I don't feel. And you don't have to put a lot of pressure on here. It's, well, barely any at all actually. And here it gets quieter and quieter. That's just the compound breaking down, getting smaller and smaller. It's like taking progressively higher grit sandpaper to smooth the surface. Start off really coarse and then get finer and finer. And you can hear it just going almost quiet here. Okay, that's about as quiet as it's gonna get. That's just there. We'll clean this off initially here, but we'll degrease everything properly afterwards. Oh, just a note, I did degrease the valves before I did this step, just so there was no PB blaster left on the surface of this valve before grinding. So we'll just wipe this down initially, but like Sean said in his video, you'll definitely want to clean the cylinder head very well afterwards. You don't want any residual compound left in your engine once this is complete. So one thing you can do after the fact is take a look at your valve seat and make sure there's a nice ring of the lapping surface here. There's no areas that have not been lapped, so I'm pretty happy with the result of that. Same thing on your valve. You can just take a look at it after the fact, and nice shiny surface all the way around. Okay, so my valves are lapped now. Next step is to take this downstairs to the basement sink and clean it really well. Same with my cam caps, my springs, retainers, and the valves themselves. Okay guys, so I'm down here in my basement sink. Normally I just jump into this and start cleaning everything, but unfortunately I've got to take a work meeting. So what I'm going to do is just get everything soaked in some multi-purpose cleaner. I've got the cam bolts in this bucket here soaking in some multi-purpose. Same with my valve springs and retainers, and then the caps are in this one. For the head, I'm going to soak everything down again, but when I come back down, what I'm going to use is the steamer that I bought from Amazon, and it's just a reservoir of water, and you just release steam. And what I find that what it does is I use it in combination with my multi-purpose, and the heat helps break things down. I spray it with the multi-purpose, go back and forth, and it makes things come out pretty clean. It gets in a lot of nooks and crannies that my little brush can't, so it's a great tool I find. I've used it in other applications as well. But yeah, when I get back from my meeting, I'll go over doing that, and you'll see how clean this thing comes out. Okay, so I'm ready to install the valve stem seals now. This is the Victor Ryan's kit. Comes with the 30 seals you need. I've got this kit from Amazon. It's just a tool to help you install them. So I'm going to use these two pieces. This one I'm going to slide the seal on first. Initially install it just loosely, and then come in with this piece afterwards, and you can see how it interfaces with the seal here. There's a nice shoulder, and it presses on the outside metal sleeve of this seal. So I'm going to take a little bit of oil, put it on the end, kind of drop there, wrap it around the inside of the stem seal, and then I'm going to turn around and slide it on. Okay, that's all it takes. Now to finish off the install, I'm just going to take this guy and just drive it the rest of the way in. You can just feel it bottom out, and that's it. Okay, so for installing the valves, again, just a little bit of oil on the stem itself. Get it into place. Spring and retainer. Okay, with the spring compressed, I'm going to grab a keeper. And you can take your keeper now. I've got a little flathead screwdriver. I've magnetized it using one of these. What I do is I put a little tiny drop of oil on the inside of the keeper, just so that when you put it on the valve stem, it kind of sticks to it. Grab a light and then just go and drop it in place. And then grab another one up top here. Okay, just do a check, make sure it's the right way, and you can release the tension on the spring and go to the next one.
Shut up and sit down.
Okay, so my valves are in, the buckets are in, that's looking really good. Everything's clean, ready to go. Next thing I'm gonna jump on is this cam chain tensioner and the pads. So I'm gonna change the pads. I'm gonna show you how to do that. It's not very hard at all. I got mine from a seller on eBay. I'll put the link and whatever part number in the description below, so have a look at that. So I've got the tensioner tool installed. It's not too tight. You don't want to tighten that too much because you can damage the tensioner. We'll just separate this from the chain and the cams. So I'll show you with the bottom one first. The top one here, I gotta take the tool off. So the way these install, you can see it here. There's two pockets on either side, and they just grip this piece of metal on the tensioner, so they can just pop right off. You just get in behind it here with a flat blade, and if you can see that, and that's it. Like, took no effort at all. The old one's off. Before you put your new one on, just give it a wipe down. It's covered in oil. I didn't clean this thing. On the other head I did, but I may cut the corner and not detail my tensioner. So I'm just gonna take the new one. It's a bit tricky to get on, so you'll start on one side, hook it in, and now this other side is gonna be a bit tricky. You gotta go on a solid surface and just apply a bit of pressure and it'll pop itself on. You can get it by hand, just started, but it's not in completely. You can see there's a gap underneath. So you just rest it on the table and just give it a bit of pressure and it clicks in place. That's it.
Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Everything went smooth, heads are on, torqued. Next I'm going to do some of the hard pipes for the cooling system, timing belts. Then I'm going to jump on to exhaust manifolds and turbos. I'm not going to do that in this video, I'm just going to stay to the heads for this video. But again, yeah, thanks for watching. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do so. And stay tuned for the next episode. See you later. The seal's now installed. I'm going to put in the valves, and then after that I'm going to follow up with the timing chain tensioner, no. The chain pads, tensioner chain to the tensioner chain pads. So the seal is now installed. I'm going to move on to the valves, and then I'll do the pads on the tensioner chain. So with the seal is now installed, I'm going to do the valves, and then So the seal is now installed, I'm going to install the valves.